he has had no real professional opponents other than Tommy Fury that were legitimate world-class boxers.
Yeah.
The problem is he was like a famous kid, and then no one took him seriously.
Yeah.
You just will never be a good fighter. So I wish that I could have knocked him out at the start. But as we saw,
He liked sparring.
Yeah.
When I watched it, which, you know, look, I paid for it. They got me. I thought it was going to be a real fight.
You know, but me, I'm gonna speak my mind. I'm just gonna keep it 100, man. Jake Paul is fugazi. He's fake.
That's how you feel.
Truly feel. I'll bust him up and his trainer in the same night. 2 for 1.
Joe Rogan expressed surprise after Anthony Joshua disclosed that Jake Paul had proposed a prearranged fight. Joshua explained that he was only open to stepping into the ring if the match was genuine and involved real danger. Rogan pointed out that several of Paul's previous victories have drawn criticism, with skeptics claiming the fights were staged or involved overly cooperative opponents. According to critics, those wins helped inflate Paul's record and public standing, fueling championship conversations without facing top-level competition. This has left many fans doubtful of the authenticity and motives behind the events, sparking ongoing debate throughout the sports world.
You know, like you would assume that wealth would take away your drive for
But
competition.
it hasn't, yeah.
He's also nuts, right? Just
Yeah.
the fact that he's willing to fight the 2-time heavyweight champion, former Olympic gold medalist,
Yeah.
a guy who's gigantic in his prime,
Gigantic.
built like a Greek god.
Yeah.
And you're going to stay.
Joe Rogan commented that the match felt closer to a managed training session than an all-out fight. He noted that although there were a few tense exchanges, the action never escalated to a point where serious harm seemed imminent. Rogan emphasized how quickly boxing can become dangerous, making it a relief that both competitors left the ring without significant injuries. He concluded that protecting fighters' health outweighs creating spectacle, and he was relieved no one absorbed blows that could cause long-term damage.
Who's going to get
You've
hurt?
known him for a long time. I've known him for a long time.
Chael Sonnen argued that the matchup falls apart when examined with basic reasoning. He noted that a boxer with just 11 professional fights should not realistically be sharing the ring with someone who has Olympic credentials and years of elite experience. According to Sonnen, the disparity in skill level, ring awareness, and overall experience is too significant to overlook. He added that the size difference only deepens the skepticism, pointing out that the veteran fighter operates at a higher weight class and well beyond Jake Paul's usual level of opposition. Sonnen maintained that in legitimate competitive boxing, athletic commissions and coaching teams would not approve such a fight under standard conditions. For him, the pairing invites serious doubts about its legitimacy, suggesting that when matchups defy fundamental sporting logic, fans are justified in questioning whether the event is about real competition or primarily built for publicity and promotion.
For Jake, or if I think that Joshua's more experienced or better, I believe I believe boxing's real. If boxing is an actual sport, if it is an actual sweet science, then of course a guy that's done it 11 times cannot compete with the Olympic champion. Of course. This is before you get size in there, before you get professional world titles in there. A guy that's done this 11 times cannot go into the Olympic Games and medal. If boxing, in fact, should be believed. I was with Portnoy. I liked it. I liked how he said that. So, you know, that's how I feel too. Because I'm also cheering for Jake Paul. But I get it. I know we're not going to win tonight. But that's a compliment to boxing. And it is very hard for people to digest that Anthony Joshua can't cut him off. He can't find him. He can't do anything with that reach. He can't go out there and rush him. He can't throw this kid in a corner and beat him up. That is disappointing to me. That is baffling to me. As an MMA guy, I will just share with you, that would not be a problem at all. At all. If a guy's running away from me, it would be absolutely no problem. And you could put the boundaries at the city line. You could put it at the state line. I will track him down. I will put him somewhere, and I will beat the dog out of him. So in a ring, I get where that is really disappointing. I get it, but it doesn't change the fact that that's what happened. And then Joshua, by the way, has the right to turn to some other things. Well, I'm saying he ought to cut him off, grab him, throw him in the corner, go beat him up. Well, I'm saying that Joshua has the right to go, I could feel some stuff. I knew it was going to come my way, right? For Joshua to say, well, I had the experience, and yeah, he was moving, and yeah, I could have cut him off a little different. But I didn't mind the way this was going. I didn't mind that he was running. I knew he would slow down. I knew he would come to me eventually. Like, for that to be Joshua's mindset.
Joe Rogan noted that Jake Paul has consistently tried to establish himself as a legitimate boxer by stepping into the ring and testing himself against real opponents. He explained that Paul tends to perform best when the challenge is authentic rather than staged. However, Rogan said that facing Anthony Joshua would represent a massive leap in difficulty. Since Paul has never gone up against someone with Joshua's size and punching power, Rogan argued there's no clear way to predict how his conditioning or durability would hold up over a demanding fight against a seasoned heavyweight. While Paul has demonstrated speed and technical ability, Rogan believes his endurance and toughness against elite-level heavyweights are still unproven, leaving fans intrigued but unsure of what would happen.
We expect Jake Paul to be fighting like higher level competition. It's not because he has under 10 fights. It's because he talks a lot of shit.
Yeah, but that's also why we're talking about him.
And that's exactly true. But I think on both sides of the equation, we've got to admit that a young fighter under 5 fights isn't fighting great competition. So if you're calling Jake Paul a legitimate boxer and then you're expecting him to do what legitimate boxers do, I'm not sure he's not doing that, and probably more.
That's what I'm saying about the knockout of Tyron Woodley, because it was just a regular boxer who's just coming up. And what is he?
Tim Bradley directly criticized Jake Paul, arguing that his image as a serious boxer isn't authentic and that his fights lack real competitive substance. Bradley suggested that many of Paul's matchups appear carefully managed, with opponents acting more like participants in a planned performance than true adversaries. He claimed these controlled outcomes have helped inflate Paul's record beyond what his actual skill level supports. Bradley cautioned fans not to confuse entertainment with legitimate boxing, explaining that while the events draw attention, they don't carry the same danger or technical demands as genuine competition. In his view, this approach weakens the credibility of the sport and sends the wrong message to young fighters trying to follow a real boxing path.
But I can't knock you I can't knock your hustle. When you built something outside of boxing and you say, hey, yo, I'm coming over here to the sport now and I'm gonna pick and choose who I fight, y'all come follow me. If they follow him, man, I just understand what it is. I know what I'm looking at. You're not gonna fool me over here. Save that stuff for them other people, because I'm not gonna believe that I'm the face of, no, you're not the face of boxing. I'm not giving you that, because that's for a lifer.
But that's what he believes.
That's cool. I can't knock him for that. People believe a lot of things for a lot of different reasons. I'm just saying, you can do all the rah-rah stuff. That's your business. But I just know what I'm looking at, right? But on the monetary side and it being an event, the truth is that when he does fight, it does bring attention around the sport. People debate, they argue, people want to see the fight. Is it legit? Is it him and Mike Tyson? No, it's an event.
Daniel Cormier acknowledged Jake Paul's willingness to take a major risk by stepping into the ring with Anthony Joshua, calling it a bold move. Although he joked that a massive payday would motivate almost anyone, Cormier still credited Paul for accepting a challenge far beyond the level of his previous opponents. He pointed out Paul's athletic ability, highlighting how smart footwork and movement helped him avoid taking the full impact of Joshua's power. Cormier explained that constantly circling, slipping, and escaping danger quickly drains energy, yet Paul was able to endure against a top-tier heavyweight. Drawing parallels to wrestling, he described how repeatedly recovering under pressure demands both mental toughness and physical resilience. In the end, Cormier said Paul's showing reflected confidence, adaptability, and determination, suggesting that regardless of the debates surrounding his career, he entered this fight with genuine respect for both the sport and his opponent.
That fight, what were your thoughts on that? I thought Jake Paul's a brave guy. Then I found out he made $100 million. I was thinking, well, anybody would fight for $100 million, but bro, he fought. I literally ran into Logan Paul in New York City, and I said to him, it was weird too, because I was going into a studio to interview Kamaru Usman for one of my shows, and Logan Paul was at the coffee shop. He's like, DC. I was like, what's up, Logan? Because he does a tremendous job in WWE. Yeah, Logan Paul does. I don't watch WWE, but I know that I do hear huge. He might literally be the best professional wrestler in the world. Really? He's such an athlete, bro. Yeah. He's unbelievable. But I'm just stroking him right now. I swear to God, bro, it's unbelievable how good the kid is. Okay. From the moment he started doing it, he was really good. He can cut a promo, huh? Like, he got a kid said promo. He's got a promo, but he's also good in the ring.
Okay.
He's really athletic. I said to him, I go, what type of safeguards do you have in place to make sure he doesn't get his head knocked off against Anthony Joshua? He's going to fight Gervonta Davis, who weighed in at 137 2 fights ago. So now you're going to go fight Anthony Joshua, who weighs all of 250? He said, all right. He said, he's going to just fight him. I go, man, he's very bold. And then what happened was he ran a lot.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Everybody goes, even Eddie Hearn goes, he did better than Francis. And I'm like, well, Francis didn't move around much. Francis thought he could actually fight him because of what he did to Tyson Fury, right? Couldn't. Tyson Fury might have overlooked him a little bit, and I think that's what happened. Like, he got caught with the right hand dropped. Anthony Joshua was like, I'm not taking any chances with this guy. So he fought him, and he took him serious. But Francis didn't move. Jake did a good job of moving around for a long time, but all that moving costs energy. Right?
I mean, I used to spar with the Robert Guerrero here in Gilwood.
Yep.
And I would go in and spar with him. I'd tell people that I would spar with him for his first 4 rounds. He would do 12 rounds.
Yep.
He would use me as his warm-up rounds.
Yep.
And I was in fight shape.
Yep.
I wouldn't go and spar unless I was ready to fight. Like, I was 2 or 3 weeks out from my I was ready to fight. And by the 4th round, I was fucking exhausted. And he would just make me miss. You know, if you miss more, it's the right work. It makes you more tired.
Especially when you're throwing big punches like Jake was throwing.
Yeah.
And then wrestling. He's like shooting double legs and shit.
Like, all you look like Dylan Davis.
Oh, seconds, bro. All that wrestling was crazy, dog. I was like, bro, have you ever in my life seen that much wrestling in a boxing match?
It was Dylan Davis, Logan Paul all over again.
Every time he would fall, you got to get up.
Yeah.
Every time you shoot, you got to get up.
It makes you more
tense. It should be more iron off you. It's a worse. I mean, and Anthony Joshua was shorter.
Eddie Hearn discussed the Anthony Joshua-Jake Paul matchup in a measured tone, explaining that the outcome followed a clearly defined strategy. The goal, he said, was to stay composed, dictate the tempo, and slowly break Paul down before closing the fight. Hearn noted that this plan focused on reducing unnecessary danger while still allowing Joshua to control the contest. In his view, the fight unfolded exactly as intended, highlighting Joshua's discipline and showing how a controlled approach can be more effective than reckless aggression. He added that this method kept the bout safe while still providing the suspense and intensity that fans came to see.
He said before the fight, I'm going to break him down and then I'm going to knock him out. And that's exactly what he did. I thought it'd be all over within 3 rounds. But, you know, when I got in the ring after, because I was shouting, just, you know, anywhere, arms. I got in, he went, what are you rushing me for? And I was like, oh, sorry. So, but like, obviously he knows what he's doing, and actually now quite pleased that we got the rounds, to be honest.
Yeah, I saw you said that. Really random, I was on Twitter and I saw Jake Paul's mum said she wants to get in the ring and punch you. She said she doesn't like the smug look on your face. She is promoting her book, so I'm not sure if she wants, you know. But did you see that? What did you think of that?
No, I was very sad because I couldn't have been nicer and more respectful of Jake and what he's done. And I think Logan's amazing. I think he's an incredible athlete. And I shook Jake Paul's dad's hand in the ring, you know. And if I would have seen Mum, I would have said, all right. But I think over the years, we've obviously had our beef, and she probably don't like me anyway. And I am probably a little bit smug. I wasn't smug after the fight because I would have been more smug if it was all over in a round. Yeah. So, no, I give Jake respect. And, yeah. Sorry, Jake's mum doesn't like me, but if she can send me a free book.
Duke McKenzie approached the discussion from a technical standpoint shaped by years in the sport. He made it clear that his assessment was based on boxing fundamentals rather than personal opinion, which, in his view, gave his conclusions added credibility. McKenzie suggested that the result spoke for itself and didn't require heavy interpretation. He highlighted Anthony Joshua's calm presence and tactical control, noting that these qualities consistently defined the contest. To McKenzie, the bout clearly illustrated how experience and refined skill can dictate a fight, serving as a clear example of a veteran fighter using discipline and strategy to outclass a less seasoned opponent.
We have like when you've got a fly on the windscreen and you're trying to swat it, and you're trying to swat it and you miss and you keep tapping, and then eventually, bang, you get it. That's exactly what that fight was. Jake Paul didn't get in there to win last night. He got in there to survive. And he didn't do a better job of surviving. He sold the fight brilliantly. That's what he is. He's a salesman. And he's a YouTuber. influencer, call him whatever you want. So from that perspective, he did his job, but he never got in there to win. He just got in there to got beat up. I'm glad Anthony Joshua done a number on him. This is why boxers are boxers, YouTubers, whatever they want to call themselves, influencers. They should stay in their lane and fight people that they're supposed to fight on their level. This guy was never on Anthony Joshua's level, and Joshua did what he needed to do, did what he had to do for the sake of boxing, and blow this guy out and just knock him out.
What about the fact that Jake was able to land on him clean a couple of times? What did you make of that?
Oh, listen, you can't get into the water without getting hit. Fortunately for Joshua, that guy can't break an egg. So he was never in any danger. He's always going to get hit back. I mean, it was 6 rounds. Anthony Joshua was always going to take at least 1 or 2 shots over that 6-round period, but it was nothing to hurt him. It was nothing to bother him. And like I say, this is all about getting AJ's confidence back. Okay. If Jake Paul fights, if he fights KSI or KFC or whatever his name is, then those two are evenly matched, aren't they? They're evenly matched, and then they could fight, and then because they're evenly matched, they're both YouTubers.
Lawrence Oswey examined the matchup from a cautionary standpoint, stressing the ever-present risks that come with boxing. He pointed out that inside the ring, one small error can completely change a fight, no matter how well-known a fighter is or how much build-up surrounds the event. Oswey focused on the sport's unpredictability, explaining that even a brief loss of focus can lead to serious consequences. His comments reinforced the idea that boxing goes beyond spectacle. It is a dangerous, high-pressure competition that demands preparation, discipline, and respect for its risks. He also noted that the fight generated widespread reaction, fueling conversation among fans and media alike.
Jake for surviving, but he wasn't trying to win. Every once in a while in between running, he would throw a wish, hope it would land, and do some damage. He was just hoping that Santa would come early and give him a present, a gift from the god. There's a reason in the jungle that a gazelle sometimes outruns a cheetah, the fastest animal, because fear makes you survive. But unfortunately, this baby gazelle ran out of steam. For AJ, it was like a light sparring session. You could see he didn't fear anything coming back. After the fight, he looked like he'd been for a light jog. AJ knew the constant pressure was breaking him down, because trust me, when you've got a guy who can punch stalking you, it's tiring, because you can't switch off. One mistake and you could end up asleep. AJ's a massive puncher. Even the punches that weren't landing clean were doing damage. Any heavyweight landing in 10-ounce gloves isn't fun. Again, credit to Jake, he got dropped, but he kept getting back up. That big head is durable. Did Jake do what he said he was going to do? No. He's a businessman. He sells the dream. At no stage did he really try to win. It was a bank robbery in broad daylight. On paper, he shouldn't have been there. He got in and kind of gave it a go. He risked his life for the fans' entertainment. Was it brave or stupidity? Well, regardless, I still think he's been great for boxing, bringing new eyes to the sport. Just look what he's done for female boxing. The undercard was female heavy, giving them opportunity, giving them a platform. Personally, I think it's great. For Jake Paul, the fight was a win-win. Once he's healed up, he can come again. But next time, fight someone at your level, light heavyweight or cruiserweight. And he did show heart, and I did see some improvement, despite the fact he was mainly running. He did show good movement and decent defence. People saying it's embarrassing for AJ. No, it's not. He just got his best and easiest payday. He can laugh his way to the bank. Nobody can honestly say if they were AJ, given the opportunity, they wouldn't take it. Come on, AJ, I'm bigging you up.
Luke Thomas was one of the most outspoken critics of the widespread acclaim Jake Paul received after the fight. He argued that much of the hype overstated Paul's achievements while downplaying Joshua's tactical mastery. Thomas stressed the need to evaluate matches based on skill, experience, and risk rather than letting spectacle drive perception. Taken together with Joshua's calculated strategy, expert analysis from commentators like Mackenzie, and Oswey's focus on the sport's inherent dangers, this perspective offers a fuller understanding of why the fight played out the way it did.
Surviving kind of feeds into the story of him being perhaps a little bit better than we sometimes think, although I don't really co-sign on that. Let me make the point. The first point is, I think people are overreacting a little bit. people were suggesting when I got on social media that this was like the biggest farce they'd ever seen in their life, and that this was, how could he fight like this, and this was a disaster, and Joshua should have got him out there earlier. There is probably some evidence to suggest that I don't think Joshua was carrying him in the sense of, hey, they coordinated this ahead of time. But was Joshua really stepping on the gas? No, I don't think he was really stepping on the gas. There were times I think he clearly pulled his punches, partly because Jake was squirmy and rotating on the outside. Also in part because I think, as I indicated on Friday, he's watching this guy with pretty bad footwork. He was literally...
That wraps up today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.